Fireside Chat, engaging and retaining frontline talent through the continuous learning and opportunity. I would like to introduce our moderator, Mr. Krishan Kunal Bagoria, Director Strategic Sales at BetterPlace. Also requesting to our moderator, please introduce our other panelists. Thank you.
Okay, so we still have 30 minutes for lunch, I guess. Hopefully, everyone is waiting for the lunch. But then, before you load up a lot of carbs, I would take in 30 minutes with my esteemed panelists also. So, before we start with the discussion, um, we'll be talking about how we can engage and retain frontline, through continuous learning. I would want to take up 5 minutes and ask my audience first, uh, to you, what do a frontline actually mean? Because for every industry, frontline is different. For a housekeeping boy or a housekeeping industry, housekeeping boy is the frontline, and same goes for different industries. So if anyone would want to throw in some light from their point of view, what actually does frontline mean to you? Please. Customer facing. Absolutely. Anyone else? So, as he rightly said, customer facing, someone who is representing your organization, and hopefully, I guess, someone who's representing your organization should know more about your organization and should really be rooted deep enough to actually, and this comes with continuous learning only. uh, okay, before I call in my panelists, few of the things that I would also want to put in here from my point of view. I guess, as the previous engagements also, we discussed that how learning and fostering an environment where learning is not only encouraged, but then I guess it is also valued at the same point in time. Of course, mobile, we can use it for messaging, calling, but then a frontline worker can actually use this mobile device for learning. Learning can be, shared in a bite-sized content. As he said, that only 2 or 3 minutes is the maximum which we actually, see. I don't want a PDF to be read across in a 2 or 3 minutes. I would want some audios, some videos, visuals, wherein I can connect more with the content. Not a monotonous PDF wherein I have just said that I have just to, go through it. Or maybe a video, a live video at the site itself. Uh, and then, of course, the organizations should, recognize and reward the employee who are actually taking and that much of effort and upskilling themselves as well. And last but not the least, we should always take the employee feedback also, because he's the one who's actually gonna take those modules, I would say. Okay, so quickly, let me not wait more and introduce my panelists also. Please welcome Ms. Sakshi, Head of Learning and Development from Compass Group. Ms. Anjali, Head HR, V-Mart Retails Limited. Ms. Trupti, Bais, Director Learning and Development from JLL. And Mr. Manish Rastogi, GM HR, Vodafone Idea Limited. So, before even starting the session, I do not want to throw up, very monotonous questions, and of course, we'll discuss more about it, about the topic that we have, raised in. I would rather first start this with I would say, fun questions out here. I'll start with you. Uh, so as in first question, would you rather work 5 hours every day for all 7 days in a week, or 10 hours a day for 4 days in a week?
With the first option.
5 hours. So you would be working every day in a month, but then only for 5 hours. You would choose that. Great. Uh, my next question is for you. If you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would that be?
Okay. One person dead or alive.
Anyone.
I think it will really have to be my grandfather.
Oh,
He's dead now, but for simply introducing me to the one habit of reading, which kind of formed the baseline for the career that I have today.
wow.
Half the reason that I'm an L&D professional is because I get free access to HBR, right? A lot of free access to a lot of other subscriptions. So I think that kind of drove me to what I'm doing today. Thank you.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that answer. Mostly, what I was thinking was people will, answer some celebrity or someone, but then very nice. So, what was your dream job when you were in college?
What was?
Your dream job when you were in college?
When I was in college, I wasn't working.
So I don't dream of a job.
At that point of time, I think I was very, very undecided. So at times I would want to join an army. At times I would feel like becoming a pilot. At times I would want to become an actor. But here I find myself. Thank
So
you.
this reminds me of, if I'm dreaming, why would I dream for a job? Right. If you could change places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
That's a tough one. Yeah, that's really tough one. I have a lot of answers. I would like to say Gauri Khan, but I would just settle with Amit Shah.
Great. Okay, so let me just get back to our topic. My first question would be for you, Manish. What are some best practices for designing and delivering continuous learning experiences that are tailored to the needs and preferences of frontline employees?
Sure, thanks. So I work for a telco, and frontline we have largely in sales and more importantly in retail. We have retail stores spread across the country. And when we talk, say about retail folks, we have across the nation some 10,000 odd folks working in there. That's what we call frontline.
Right.
And they are largely on other party roles, barring one person who is manning the store as a store manager. He's an FTE, full-time employee with us.
Right.
Now, what we realized is when there would be an attrition in FTEs,
Right.
so then it would be a very tough situation to manage that store or transfer a trained employee there.
Absolutely.
So this was becoming a problem with us, and last couple of years we've introduced an initiative, and what we have done is we would rarely take people from those third-party roles to on roles, but then we opened those gates.
Right.
And what we started doing is thorough screening by HR, by the retail lead, the training lead, and then we would, there was of course certain parameters, criterias defined, like age on network, which was decided as 1.5 years, the behavior, the attendance over the past, that would go into screening. So we introduced a kind of a talent management practice in there, and if all those folks who were doing well, we would tell them this is what you can look forward to.
Absolutely.
And this pepped up and motivated the entire force. They all wanted it to be there. The behaviors improved, the day-to-day working improved, the compliances improved. Now, from there, we form a talent pool, and then we pick up few people and make them go through. That's before they have become on rolls. We make them go through 8 weeks of rigorous trainings, be it on compliances, be it on KPIs, be it on POS, gender diversity. Now you're going to be, once you become a store manager, you will be having a team around, so team management, managerial effectiveness, uh, profit and loss, how to manage that, because now you're manning a store means you're also responsible for profit and loss account of that. So 8 weeks we would do that, again a screening, and then we will shortlist and then have those people in with us. So I think it has paid very rich dividends, and that's one initiative which I would like to talk about here. And we've also, to good extent, gone digital with them in terms of learning and development, because it's extended our reach, so to say. So that's one best practice I would like
So
to
you
talk
actually
about.
gave in a goal to each of these employees, I would say, which was very great, I would say. Of course, they have their own KPIs and everything, but then beyond that, you gave them a goal that you can, actually being our own employees and get those benefits also.
True, true.
Great, which is great. Maybe Sakshi, you want to add something?
Thank
on
you.
this?
So I come from Compass. Compass is world's largest food services organization. So basically, what we do is maybe to some of you some of you who are sitting here in your offices, the food that you eat, good or bad, is by us. I hopefully all good. So some of you are probably my clients here, but so our employee base is about 28,000 people. And I'm giving some context before I get into best practices, because I think that will make more sense. A lot of them are frontliners, like how Kishan was asking what frontliners means, and of course it's client facing, it's customer facing, but it's also the honor that they come from, like what they do. A lot of our frontliners come with basic or no education. You would want them to be service associates, at the back of your buffet, or cleaning up your tables before the next round of sort of employees come in and park themselves there for their lunch or breakfast. So when we do all of that stuff, I think what we do as best practices, and I've got a couple of notes so that I don't miss any of them, and you can also bring in your diaries out so that you can make a note of it, is that we don't give jobs. We believe in making careers and giving you a career. It is not that I would like you to just come in and do a job for 6 months and then I can probably move to another one because it's minimum wages, I don't need too much experience, and I can just move in and hop around with people around there. So one of the first things that we did is that we revamped our induction bit, and we all know how hard it is as induction. Inducting an employee who probably doesn't come from like an F&B background, doesn't even know basics like what temperature the food should be at, etc. And what we did was started developing something called a Compass Skill Center. It's basically like a demo of one of our units, what a client sort of site looks like, and put you there for 15 days, so that what the unit would probably try and do with you for about 2-3 months, we would do that with you in 15 days with no pressure of performance, with no, buzzard, and all of that stuff, and just plain give you that 15 days of coaching so that you're ready. You're ready to do what you're actually hired to do. So that investment was a lot, but I think the business really saw through it and said that this will really make sense. And we've just done very few initial batches of it, but it's really paying off. And when we induct them, we don't show them boring presentations, with all due respect. They end up being boring. We just translated them into video modules. And a very movie-like experience, because, we'd all remember that action scene in Pathan, but we will not really remember. Yeah, you will get a lot of Shah Rukh references because that's a big fan that's sitting here. But you will not probably remember a presentation that we just saw maybe about an hour back. Or maybe all slides that, even the most engaging of speakers probably are sharing here. Because you would remember their words, but you'll probably not remember what you saw on the slide. So I think these two things have really helped us, engage with people at the starting level. I mean, our infant attrition is still through the roof, sadly. But we hope that, as we are fully almost returning to work with clients, and some of those factors become not so variable, we would try and sort of, also put a cap on the hole in that bucket. So, but yeah, these are two, three things that I would like to share now, and I think maybe more as we progress with the discussion.
So,
Thank you.
I work with a lot of, so as BetterPlace, we focus on frontline workers only, and that's our forte. That's where we are doing also. We are building an HRMS for the BetterPlace also. And one of the main key points, or I would say pain points that I always see across, industries is the iteration. And I always ask this one very small question to all my, clients: what are you actually doing with, all your for all your frontline workers? And I guess Compass, as you said, as soon as I enter the organization, it's 1 week where the guy actually iterates out of the organization. That is because I really don't know what is expected out of me, what I have to do on day one itself. And I guess that is one of the best practices you guys are doing in. Okay, so let's move on to our next question, and this is for you, Trupti. How is the global landscape changing in terms of ways of working and types of employee relationships?
So that's a fantastic question because as an L&D professional, what I believe is that certain needs are felt in organizations across industries, across the globe, across cities, right? It does not matter what industry I come from. There are certain needs that always need to be met. So for example, if you look at a lot of strategy, or if you look at a lot of research that the World Economic Forum has thrown up, or NASCOM, or any other such organizations, they talk about 4 to 5 things. So it all starts with the seismic shifts in, say, the global landscape. How is the workforce changing?
Right.
How are the skills changing? And therefore, how do you need to change the way of fulfilling that requirement for upskilling? If you look at the type of workers, for example, there is this new concept of gig workers, right? People want to do multiple roles in organizations.
Right.
It may be frowned upon by some, it may be appreciated by some, because that may be the way that my organization thrives.
Correct.
So the type of workers are changing. There are more and more gig workers. There are people who are multi-potentialites. I think that's the word I heard in a TED talk, which is people who want to have multiple career paths.
Correct.
I may be great at L&D, but I may also want to pursue something in content development, for example.
Right.
So that's one. The other is, how do I want to learn? So a lot of us talked about, learning in the flow of work. Yeah, that's how I want to learn today. If I am, moving from one place to the other, I may just pull up my phone and see how I want to learn. There's also binge learning that we talk about. And I will refer to, in fact, something that I heard Ankit Jham talk about last year in an ETHR session. And we've actually tried to use that. Some of my colleagues are here from JLN, and we've actually tried to use that, where they're saying that you're competing with Netflix. How is it that you're making Netflix your friend for learning? So I've recently completed a session on LGBTQA where I relied only on Netflix videos. I did it with people from HR partner teams. I did it with people from the internal team. I didn't have to say anything, the message was conveyed. And you can make it out from the faces.
Right.
So I think that's one. And more importantly, also the workforce is changing in terms of how you're engaging with people. The earlier you engage, I think the better it is. So I think a lot of organizations have internship programs. I've heard some of my colleagues talk about apprenticeship programs, etc., which I think the industry is anyways doing for you.
Correct.
But yes, when they enter the organization, what is it that you're able to enable for them? And through continuous conversations, how is it that you're creating that value even for that one person who's in housekeeping, and making their capabilities, their skill sets, the competency frameworks come to life for them? If I talk about a capability, for example, think big, but if my housekeeping person does not know what think big means for me, then I can keep going to the end of the world about learning. I will not have that person's attention.
Absolutely.
So I think, yeah,
Yeah, and
that
of
is
course,
what.
I guess in the IFM space also, efficiency is one of the major things. And after COVID, as in, of course, organizations don't want to spend that much of money also, and wherein efficiency come in play, and you have to enable the guy on the ground itself that how he can actually do good on his part of the job as well. Right. So before everyone heads, and I am hopeful that everyone is waiting for lunch, but then I'm moving on to my last question, and this is for you, Anjali. Uh, what role does leadership play in fostering a learning culture? Okay, I'll just repeat the question. What role does leadership play in fostering a learning culture and supporting the development of frontline employees?
But I think leadership plays the most important role, and recently we've realized this. And as an organization, what we did it instead of training team going all throughout, making content, program modules, and sending those invites. We invited a lot of leadership, to actually give those master classes. And we felt that, these people, before COVID also, the training team was there, maybe the store visits that so we have retail outlets, more than 400 outlets, and more than 10,000 workforce. So we realized post-COVID now, the store training in person would be slightly difficult. But then obviously online, the hybrid model will also not work, because frontline now has been more smarter. After COVID, they're all have got all access to LinkedIn Learning. In fact, those YouTube videos, then they know about Udemy, Coursera. So no more HR has to actually market that, or you have to give information. Everything is now available for them. So we involved the regional manager, the zonal business heads, to actually impart them training, rather than when they go for visit, they ask those business KPIs, why this sales, product, SOP scorecards. So we asked them, why not you give those master classes, you have, those OJTs with them, you have those one-on-one sessions, and believe me, that worked well. And recently, last 3 months, we've been doing. And when we took feedback both from the trainer, now we call them as also our subject matter expert facilitators, and from the audience, actually this is what we call as blended learning. I'm sure gamifications, all those video modules are helpful, but I think this model of having those subject matter experts, and within the frontline also, it's also not about leadership. Within the frontline also, there are experts, those people where we, through assessments, we have our top stars who can also become the store coaches, become the store trainers actually. So this model helped us, and I think leadership plays a big role, because we say it comes from top to bottom, and actually it actually creates an impact for that.
And of course, as in not only hybrid work and everything, I guess hybrid learning is also one of the major things that we need to take care of. Of course, classroom learnings can never be replaced, and I second that. But then, of course, you need to have something on your app also. You cannot just of course, people go on Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, all of it. But then I guess an app wherein you can actually learn through the app also, maybe a short 5 minutes video every day, that will do a large change, is what I also believe in. So thank you so much everyone for bringing in all your thoughts out here. And I guess we still have time, but then we are before time today.
Yeah, I have a question for the audience, if you don't mind.
Please, please.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've all spoken about few things that, Krishan has asked us and shared what we've done. And I think there are many more from us only to share. But any best practices on frontline induction, training, engagement that anybody of you all would like to share? We would love to hear. Please, we have a couple of
Can we
people
have a
there.
mic, please, over there?
Hi, Pratiksha, this side from Graziano. So basically what happened is like we are a manufacturing industry, and the best practices or everything you are sharing here is literally an ongoing thing for a manufacturing industry, because product is the only element we are looking for. Any production is the only key element for our industry to be success. For operators like blue collar ones who are working on the lines, we cannot spare them and we cannot take the downtime on the name of the HR. What best practice we have started is like we as a team started a positivity session for them. So basically they have a tea break of 10 to 15 minutes. And in that tea break session, what we do is like we keep asking them some compliance questions, some Bollywood type of questions just to make them engaging and so that they can answer and get rewarded for that question and answers. Like having a question from dialogue delivery, ki kitne aadmi the? So this kind of questions are also entertaining for them and just to be inclusive because they are not like addressed as being a very good spectator, being a good speaker. They have kind of shy of something before answering the questions. They hesitate to come forward and answer the questions. So we started rewarding and giving them some foolish questions also. Being a HR, this sounds really cheesy. But then we just have seen a change that the engagement level from operator, which we never expected, has been changed drastically. So this is one of the things which I like to share here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We have more. Yeah, wonderful.
Hi, I'm Kaushal. I'm working with ProcCab, which is into B2B lending, and our frontline is sales only. So on our this month only, on our HRIS portal, we have a small platform wherein it looks like Facebook. We are running a contest called Main Bhi Influencer. So the salespeople have to make 1-minute video on a sales pitch to the last mile retailers. And whosoever wins, we have kept a reward for that. So that is pretty engaging and people are taking it very positively and it's a fun. That's the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, and really relatable. Everybody's an influencer these days. We have one on the panel too. We have somebody who would like to share the back.
Hi, my name is Ankit. I've come from JLL. I have my colleague sitting there in the panel. And I have a best practice to share, which we have for our frontliners. So JLL, if you know, it's a commercial real estate company. We manage facilities for our clients, the Amazons of the world, the Googles of the world. And one best practice we have is similar to TED Talks. I'm sure everyone sitting over here is well versed with TED Talk. It's an idea sharing platform. And we have something we have very similar at JLL is called CIWG. It's Continuous Improvement Workplace Group, where we have an idea sharing platform where people from different sites come forward and share their best practices with each other. It's a 10-minute talk, similar to TED Talk platform. You get 10 minutes, you get a chance to share your ideas. And the way it works and the way it helps us is it helps us cross-pollinate ideas, because one of the biggest challenges we face as an organization that we have so many employees spread across different locations, but they hardly get to interact with each other. So it supports idea sharing, best practices sharing, and B, it also helps build the camaraderie between the team. They're all doing the same work day in and day out, but probably at different client sites. They get a chance to come at a common platform, share their best practices with each other, and cross-pollinate ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the moderator and panelists for having such a wonderful session. Now I would like to call upon stage Mr. Suresh Kumar, CEO at Tesseract, to please come and felicitate our moderator and panelists. Also, can we have a group picture, please? Thank you so much. And now I would request, please felicitate Miss Anjali. Thank you so much. And now requesting, please felicitate Miss Trupti. Thank you so much. And now requesting to please felicitate Mr. Manish. Thank you. And lastly, I would request please felicitate Miss Sakshi.